League of Women Voters, Stevens Point City Council Candidates Forum, recorded March 11, 2026.
Good evening. Welcome to this forum for the Stevens Point Alder candidates, sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point Pointers Vote Coalition, the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point Student Government Association, the Portage County Business Council, and the Stevens Point Area Senior High School Student Senate. My name is Sue Buck, and I'm a member of the League, and I will serve as the moderator for this event. The League of Women Voters is a political but nonpartisan organization. The League's primary purpose is to encourage voting by registering voters, providing voter information, and advocating for voting rights. Tonight's event is part of providing voter information through candidates sharing their views of issues of concern to Stevens Point residents. The co-sponsors of this forum, the UWSP Pointers Vote Coalition, the UWSP Student Government Association, the Portage County Business Council, and the SPASH Student Senate, are also nonpartisan organizations with no endorsement of any candidates or political parties. Their interest is in helping local citizens to be more informed voters. Historically part of the Menominee homelands, a 3-mile strip along the Wisconsin River was ceded to the United States in an 1836 treaty. Stevens Point was first established as an unincorporated village in 1847. In 1858, the area became known as the city of Stevens Point. The population of Stevens Point is estimated at 26,465 people in 2026. It covers 18.4 square miles. The 2026 budget for the city of Stevens Point is $29.2 million. This budget focused on significant infrastructure projects, including the $9 million for the new city hall and approximately $11 million for Business 51 improvements. There are 10 active TIF, tax incremental finance, districts in the city of Stevens Point. Stevens Point has a mayor and city council form of government. There are 11 aldermanic districts representing 33 wards. Alders are elected to serve a 2-year term. Even-numbered districts are elected in even-number years. The council meets on the third Monday evening of every month. The Stevens Point Alders are compensated at an annual rate of $5,620 a year, according to this 2026 city budget. The council president receives an additional $200 per year. The council is the legislative branch of city government. The council sets the policy direction and priorities of the city by establishing ordinances, passing declaratory resolutions, and considering, denying, or approving motions at city meetings. The council is responsible for setting the city budget, overseeing all city properties, and providing services for the health, safety, and well-being of the public. Also, it is responsible for setting tax rates and assessing fees to meet operational and contingency needs of the city. The council also approves economic development projects and financing for capital expenditures. There are 6 candidates running for the contested seats of 3 of the aldermanic districts. The candidates are David Kruger and Andrea Olson for District 4, Joe Donahue and Sal Cuomo, District 6, and Zach Sowija and Matt Moldenhauer, District 10. Joining us tonight are Andrea Olson, Joe Donahue, Matt Moldenhauer, and Sal Cuomo. David Kruger did not respond to our invitation, and Zach Sowija called me today and is sick, and he really had planned to be here and was disappointed he couldn't make it. To provide the most time to hear from the candidates and to provide a fair and equal opportunity to answer questions important to you and this community, I will review the format, time, and terms for this forum. This has also been reviewed with the candidates. Each candidate will first have a minute and a half to introduce themselves and make an opening statement. They will have a minute and a half to respond to questions, and they will also have a minute and a half to make a closing statement. And I will repeat the question if you need me to do that. Candidates will respond first to some questions submitted by the forum sponsors and then questions from the audience. Questions from the audience must be addressed to all the candidates. If you want to submit a question, please motion to one of the ushers. They're in the back of the room. They've got the index cards and pencils, and they will be glad to give you one to write your question. The League reserves the right to review and screen questions for relevance and to avoid duplication. And our timers are in the front of the candidate tables right here. A green folder will be held up when the time starts. A yellow folder indicates 30 seconds remain, and the red folder means that time has expired. Candidates may finish their sentence and then please stop so the next candidate may begin their response. Candidates are asked to keep their remarks germane to the questions and fair to the participants. Audience members are requested to respect the candidates' time and responses, and also asked to turn off their noise-making devices so it's not interrupting. And the moderator reserves the right to interrupt to ensure that these ground rules are observed. And I will, for Joe, because he can't see in the room, I will give you, Joe, the heads up of start time, 30 seconds, and end time. The order of response to each question will be rotated. We will alternate which candidate answers the question first. The order of the opening and closing statements will be chosen by a random drawing of the candidates' names in our handy-dandy little bowl up here. As I've already stated, participating in tonight's forum are Matt Moldenauer, Sal Como, Joe Donahue, and Andrea Olson. And we now begin with a 1.5-minute opening statement from each candidate. And our first opening statement is by Joe Donahue. So Joe, you have a 1.5 minutes.
Hello, I'm Joe Donahue. First of all, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting the event, the sponsors, as well as everybody else who has taken the time to listen online. And I'd also like to thank tech support. I'm a 32-year resident of Stevens Point, residing in the same house since 1994. My wife and I raised 2 children in this community, and our daughter is raising her family in the same neighborhood. I have a BBA with an emphasis in finance and management from the UW Wisconsin Platteville. Following that, I built a career in industrial sales. I recently retired, and I'm excited for the chance to serve the community. We're all neighbors no matter which district we live in. Us working together is what makes this a beautiful place to live. My strength is in being a good neighbor, being somebody who cares and lends a hand. I bring decades of experience in sales, listening to customers, and create practical solutions. I problem solve while being mindful of budgets and remaining fiscally responsible.
30 seconds.
This is what I will do as an alder. Thank you.
Thank you. Next opening statement is Sal Cuomo.
How's everybody doing tonight?
You want to use the microphone, please?
Oh, sure. I can.
Thank you.
How's everybody doing tonight?
There you go.
Cool. My name's Sal Como. I have been an area resident for over 40 years. I attended this fine institution starting in 1986, and I think it was on the 5-year plan. I don't really remember anymore. That was a really, really long time ago. But I work locally in our community in technology sales, and I volunteer a lot of my time with the Stevens Point Elks Lodge and also Boy Scouts of America. And that's where I've spent most of my time until my son got his Eagle Scout, and then I retreated from that program, focused more time on doing grants for the city coming from the Elks Lodge. So folks at Operation Bootstrap and Operation Warm and a number of others, our Christmas basket program, I've been involved in all of those to get resources to those folks who need those resources. So, and regardless of what happens here tonight, I will continue to do that. So I look forward to the opportunity. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this event, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Andrea Olson.
Hi, I'm. Hello? Oh, okay. Sorry, I can't hear it. Okay, now it's better. Okay, it's one of those ones. So I'm Andrea Olson, and I'm running for District 4 Alderperson, which is along the river, the Wisconsin River in Stevens Point. It has Buchholz and Piffner Park, and then it goes on up through the area out to the burbs and country area. It's a lot bigger than you think. And also, thank you for doing this forum, Business Council, UWSP, SPASH, and League of Women Voters. I grew up here, and I went to parochial schools at first, and then I switched over to SPASH because I was a swimmer and they had a swim team. After that, I ended up leaving the city and moving as far away as I possibly could to Rochester, New York, hoping that nobody else would be going to school there. Little did I find out, the day of graduation, met somebody that was also going there from SPASH. I was like, oh. So I did my undergraduate degree there and also my MBA there, and then worked in manufacturing and market research out there. I moved back about 10 years ago, and I accidentally started up my own business, and will always be living here now because I love where I live, and I'll probably be buried in my backyard.
Thank you. And Matt Moldendauer.
First of all, thank you for putting on the forum to everyone. My name is Matt. I'm running for City Council in District 10. I'm 24. Most of my adult life I've worked in various customer service roles, and I'm currently using those skills now in IT. Every day when I go to work, I'm working to solve problems while taking into account the needs and perspectives of various different stakeholders to make sure we come to a solution that works for everyone. I'm primarily running for City Council to improve transparency in city government, so that residents can easily follow events going on in the city and know how to get involved. And I also want to make sure the zoning rewrite we're doing right now is the best that it can be, so we can encourage more affordable and diverse housing options for anyone in any stage of life or budget. I hope to earn your vote on April 4th or April 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will start with the questions, and I picked out Andrea's name first, so we will go in the order of Andrea, Matt, Joe, and Sal. And then we'll go round robin then. So here's the first question. The campus is broken up, meaning the UWSP campus, is broken up by two different voting districts. This is a barrier to many college students voting. Would you be willing to vote to see the UWSP campus be in one voting district? Why or why not? And that came from our college friends here. Starting with Andrea.
Well, that's a really hard one because I never actually thought about. There we go. That's a hard one because it's not my district, so I never really thought about that, nor did I realize that that was the case. And I understand how it could also be difficult for students. And however, I don't know if I'd want to try to make it one district, because when you have two districts there, you get to have the impact of the university in two different separate areas, because then you have you can get more you can get more diversity, I guess, into more people on Common Council, your two alders representing more students, and get multiple viewpoints then from that. So I'm not really sure on that one. I'm sorry. It's one of those things I just didn't think about. But I think that a lot of outreach could be done to students in the first place. I feel like there's a lot of disconnect between the university and the city right now, and I'd love to see additional cooperation between the two, because it could lead to a lot more opportunities other than one-time projects.
Okay, thank you. Matt Mollendorf.
Repeat the question.
Sure. The campus is broken up by 2 different voting districts. This is a barrier to many college students voting. Would you be willing to vote to see the UWSP campus being in one voting district? Why or why not?
I do think I'd be open to that. I think I would first want to make sure we wouldn't be diluting the impact of the students by doing that, but I definitely see the benefits of there being a single polling place to make it more accessible for students to vote. But yeah, I'd want to make sure we're also giving students full impact their vote. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Joe Donahue, your reaction to that question? Oh, Joe, you're muted. Can you unmute yourself?
Thank you. I would not be opposed to creating a district for the University of Wisconsin students. I also would not be opposed to setting up a voting location on campus to make things easier for the students. I understand as a student, the situation is kind of fluid, and they're going to be, the likelihood they would move from one district to the next, I think could be pretty high, but I think it's important to get students involved in the political process as soon as possible. So I think it's a great idea to do whatever we can to help them enjoy and participate, you know, what makes our city of Stevens Point great. And thanks so much for the question.
Thank you. And Sal Cuomo.
My initial thought is I'm not for it, although now that I think about it, I guess I would have some serious questions to ask. Is would incorporating the 2 into 1, does that lead to a higher percentage of people voting? Is it for convenience? I'm curious in regards to the motivations behind consolidating the 2 districts into 1. Ultimately, if it turns out that better, student participation occurs from that, then absolutely I would be for that, because our students live here. They need to have a say in local government, and we should listen to them, even if they're only residents here for 4 years. Still important.
Okay, thank you. The next question, we'll start with Matt. And the question is, what are your thoughts on hiring a city manager, and how would having a city manager change city government as we know it?
I'm open to the idea. I could see how having someone with experience managing a city and who doesn't have to campaign every 4 years could be beneficial. I do think it still would be. I do still think it would be good to have at least a part-time mayor who would be involved in the hiring process for that, to ensure that the vote they're still at least somewhat accountable to the voters, or at least they're somewhat accountable to the voters. And I think, the main thing is, the day-to-day administrative duties would fall to a manager type person, but the elected mayor would still be present with the council and have a veto power and such. So ideally, I think I'd be more in favor of like a hybrid approach like that, but yeah.
Okay, thank you. Joe Donahue, your thoughts on that question? And yeah.
I personally would prefer having a mayor as opposed to a city manager. I think the city can, the residents give a lot better feedback on a 4-year basis as opposed to having a city manager. That's my personal preference. I think it's in the best interest of the community.
Okay, thank you. Sal Coma.
Yeah, I would be opposed to having a city manager. The mayor is accountable and accountable by the voters. A city manager is not. So if we are going to have someone in a position of leadership, let the voters decide who that should be.
Okay, thank you. And Andrea Olson.
I am actually for having a city administrator or a city manager, and I've spoken up about this too when we had it was the League of Municipalities came to one of the city meetings to discuss what the advantages or disadvantages would be. However, it was a presentation only, and public feedback or interactions wasn't actually allowed at all, so we couldn't ask any questions. I'm for it because you will always have a mayor that is part-time going out there trying to get reelected. So you don't really know if decisions are being made based on getting reelected or if they're in the best interest of the city. Also, it adds a lot of continuity across years of time. You can have a long-term plan then that can go not just for year to year or fixing current problems, but going all the way into the future. You also can then have that person that is working with the departments and still have a part-time mayor that is out there for events and doing other things. It's a really complicated situation because yes, you're going to have to find funding for it. However, that individual also is experienced with grants and can help bring in more grant money for the city, which we need right now when we have a reduction in funding from other areas.
Okay, thank you. All righty, we'll move on to the next question, and this one's from the audience, and we will start with Joe Donahue. What do you think is the number one issue for the city of Stevens Point, and how can this issue be addressed? Okay, you're on mute again.
Based on what my constituents are telling me, it's taxes, and I tend to agree with that. It's very important that our community understand when they're going to have a significant rate increase, and what my constituents tell me is it seems completely out of control at this time. I know that it's a huge problem based on the way the state laws have set up and regulated how increases can be managed, and that's going to be a primary focus when I'm elected to be an alderperson.
Okay, thank you. Sal Cuomo.
Property taxes at this time, if they continue, are going to price our seniors out of their homes. I've had a number of folks tell me that when I've been out shaking hands, knocking on doors. That's a serious issue that does not have a lot of alternatives. Other than, we need to figure out how we can reduce the rate of increase. We understand that property taxes will probably always go up. But 10% this last year apparently it was necessary, but I don't like it. And it's one of the reasons why I'm running. I would like to see what we can do in the city to help curtail those property tax increases.
Okay, thank you. Andrea Olson.
Same thing as everybody else. It has been property taxes. Mine since 2018 have gone up 355%. I have neighbors on fixed incomes too that are having their taxes go crazy. We need to figure out what can be done. Like, we have some small fixes right now for people if they need to get their houses fixed. We have our housing assistance grants through the city, and those are fantastic. We have Rock the Block, which just got approved to be able to get funding for people to work on their houses through a third party, through Habitat for donations, to get that first $5,000 to then get a matching grant to that. So then you can do more work on your home. So we have things like that. However, we need more. We need to instead of when we're looking, like, we have the ability to create different types of housing tax credits for people to actually get into homes too. We just have to budget smarter. We're going to have to cut stuff out, which is going to be really difficult. We have to look at everything from the big picture and see where things are overlapping. Do we have dump trucks in 2 different departments? Can we centralize this instead? And we just need to budget smarter, and we got to try really hard.
Okay, thank you. Matt?
Yeah, I'd say affordability in general. So part of that is property taxes. We need to make sure that the city government is efficient and working with what they have and not leaving any income on the table when it comes to new developments. I'd like to I would be skeptical of creating new TIF districts as well. I'd like to see that money go into the city budget to help offset some of the increase in costs. And the other half of that is housing. Housing is taking up a lot of people's income right now. And we have a shortage of units in the area. So I'd like to see us, with the zoning code rewrite, I'd like to see us encourage more row housing, cottage courts, smaller homes, and such. So we have more options than luxury apartments and really large homes for people at different stages of life.
Okay, thank you. We start with Sal Cuomo this time, and here's the question from an audience member. What is your biggest priority or concern with regard to the rezoning rewrite?
As a property owner, I have been discouraged when I have wanted to do projects and I haven't been able to because of zoning. The rewrite coming up, I look forward to being an active part of that because one of the reasons why I believe we have the shortages that we do for housing is we're not utilizing zoning properly, or zoning changes need to be made. For me personally, I know it's again, it's a personal issue, situation I ran into, but I can't imagine I'm the only one that has needed to butt heads with the city about a project that they wanted to do, or a garage they wanted to build, or a fence that they wanted to put up. All of those are zoning issues, and those are all things that hit home. We need to work harder as a group in order to get those remedied.
Thank you. Andrea Olson.
With the zoning code rewrite, it is a great opportunity for us to look at how our city actually functions and how things work next to each other. I was viewing some of the new maps, and it is going to allow for increased density downtown, because when people are retiring, I get people walking past all the time trying to buy my house from me because I'm right by the river. I can walk along the river. They want to be able to walk there, go downtown, have groceries, everything within walking distance. The new zoning that they're proposing along the couple first blocks along downtown pretty much will allow for housing that is more options. You're going to be able to increase the density because it can have townhomes. You can start doing your ADUs and ACUs on lots that aren't 10,000 square feet or 8,000 square feet, because a lot of our lots downtown are very, very small. We have a lot of other changes happening. One thing that I was very concerned about with one of the new maps was that they had some areas that had just gotten rezoned for commercial right along the edge. They're now, when they didn't have a buffer zone or anything, so no transition between R1 and B4, They're now taking that edge strip and making that the transition, making those R1 homes into a transition, which I didn't think was right. So we have concerns, I have concerns like that, and I hope they get fixed.
Okay, thanks. Matt Moldenauer.
So primarily, I think I'd like to see us allow for increased density in much of the city. Denser developments bring more property tax revenue at lower costs with similar costs of infrastructure and services, so they can help the city budget. They also can provide more units and many different types of housing options for people who are different stages of life. I'd also like to see mixed-use zoning be more prevalent throughout the city, so we can see more things like the Stevens Point Area Co-op, where you have a corner store where people can walk and grab some groceries. That's pretty unique in the city right now, and I'd like to see that become more common.
Okay, thank you. And Joe Donahue. And you're on mute again. Joe, you're still on mute.
Hello, thank you. The zoning code rewrite under Wisconsin state statutes requires cities to update their comprehensive plan at least every 10 years through a public participation process. Our current plan was adopted in 2006, so we're a decade overdue for an update. The comprehensive plan directly impacts every city land use decision, and it sets our city's policies and priorities for the next decade. Our city has changed over the last 20 years, and updating this plan cannot wait one more minute as far as I'm concerned. Thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you. We'll start the next question with Andrea Olson. And the question is, can you comment on ways the city is working to address the increasing numbers of unhoused members in our community? Do you have other suggestions for addressing this issue?
So this has been something that has been going on for a very long time. I live down by the parks, and there has been an unhoused situation there where people are staying there. People are downtown also all the time, and I'm very, very, very happy that they approved the 365 shelter, and that is going to help a lot with getting some of the situation downtown better, because there's going to be less garbage and things there that then the city and police department have to deal with. I'm also very excited that there's a lot of different groups now that are working together with 365 also. So now you don't have as many different groups working separately, they're working together. I think that the city, I would like to see a bit more, let's see. I'd like to see more communication up front with the public about what they are actually doing for the unhoused situation, because a lot of these things have seemed very reactive to the public instead of proactively putting them out there and then communicating and just being transparent, because then that will make things much better in the end.
Okay, thank you. Matt Moldenhauer.
I'm happy that 365 shelter has been approved. That'll definitely help the situation a lot. I know in Marathon County they have a facility that has many different services under one roof. I forget the exact name of it, but they have several nonprofits that occupy the same space. It's almost like a mall for those types of services, along with a shelter, and it's right on the bus route. So I'd like to see if potentially the city could partner for something, I'd like to see something like that potentially built, or utilizing an existing building. I think they utilized an old school building to provide services, because many of the unhoused population here, they do work. They're just choosing to eat a lot of times as opposed to rent. So I think we do need we need to support them, and provide resources so that they can get to a point where they can find housing and.
Okay, thank you. Joe Donahue.
I spoke with the assistant or acting chief about the city's housing problems, and she informed me that it's been here a long time and it's going to be with us for quite a while longer. I was impressed with some of the ideas she put forth about how the police tries to solve some of the alcohol and drug problems and find them appropriate quarters when things are really cold. And I'm also enthused about utilizing the old Oddfellows building as a new semi-permanent location to assist with these folks. I'm eager to assist in any way I can to try and make the situation better for these folks who have fallen on tough times. So that's how I feel about this issue.
Okay, thank you. And Sal Cuomo.
The program to do 365 at the Odd Fellows Club will be, I'm hoping it's going to help. There's still a number of steps and a lot more dollars that'll need to be invested into it to make sure that it's, suitable for housing. After all, we want these people to have their dignity. We're not here to throw them in jail or do anything else. But along with when that project is complete and will accept people, there was also passed a camping ordinance. So you have a place to go, but if you choose not to go, then there'll be fines and whatever else. I'm hoping it doesn't get to that, but there has to be, with the carrot, there has to be some stick. And not everybody wants to do the right thing. Hopefully, those will make the decision to do that when the facility is ready. And until then, the organizations that take care of those folks, like Salvation Army and a few others, they just need our resources and our help to get over this hump, because it's not slowing down. It's not getting less. So I hope things get going quickly.
Thank you. And we'll start with Matt with this next question. It's another student question. There is an ongoing issue with parking at UWSP. Do you have any ideas about how the city could help the university to expand parking options for students and/or community members?
As far as expanding parking, I know the area is fairly boxed in, so expanding as far as area would be challenging. We could look at garages, though there is a high cost to that. I think one option, while it's not expanding parking, I'd like to see us improve the reliability and of our public transportation and the coverage, so that students who maybe don't really care to have a car have an option to have more options to get around the city. If we could expand the hours and the frequency, ideally, so that more students can get to work. There are, I'm sure, students that would rather do that, and that could potentially free up some spaces for students who have to drive.
Okay, thank you. Joe Donahue.
Could you repeat the question, please?
I sure will. There is an ongoing issue with parking at UWSP. Do you have any ideas about how the city could help the university to expand parking options for students and/or community members?
At the present moment, I was unaware that the parking situation was problematic. Does it have to do with lack of availability or the cost? I guess I'd need more information to give adequate feedback on that, and perhaps it'd be a function better solved by the university system. I'm not really sure on that issue.
Okay, thank you. Sal Cuomo.
Lack of parking is not a new issue to UWSP. It was the same issue back when I bought a car when I lived in the dorms in 1986. Where do you park? Well, you can park 2 miles away in lot Q or something like that, and then you got to get to class. And so, I mean, I think if we, the best thing that the city can do is increase bus routes. If the city can work with the university and say, okay, you guys got a big lot over here. Can we make part of this big lot public parking and have a regular bus schedule of picking people up and bringing them to the campus? Other than that, it's a tough issue, and it's been around a long time.
Okay, thank you. Andrea Olson.
So, as Sal said, parking has been an issue here for a long time. My mom used to work at the university, and she paid for parking the first couple years, and then we would walk from there. The cost of the paying for parking on a university salary, even for her, was a lot, so she then parked on the streets, and we'd walk from the streets here. So, I'm wondering, is there I'd have to talk to the university more. Is one of the problems that the cost of parking in the parking lot's too much and there are open spaces there? Or is it because we don't have a good alternative transportation system and maybe the city could help out with that? I know that for a very long time, the city has been trying to work with the university on getting rid of a fence that's it's like behind Pizza Hut to make it more accessible for university students to get back and forth. I don't know why this is stalling. It's been forever, and I'd really like to help out with that. There's also infrastructure stuff. So do we need to, I know I'm going to say it, have better bike lanes? Do we need to make things better for people to walk, ride their scooters, whatnot? We have a lot of things to look at because it's not just the cars. Is it also where people are living? If you don't have to drive to school, you're not going to have a car all the time. So there's a lot there.
Okay, thank you. The next question will start with Joe Donahue. Are you aware of what a TIF district is? And if yes, to what extent are you in favor of using TIFs for redevelopment, infrastructure, and other community improvement projects? Other than TIFs, are there any other ideas to incentivize future investment in Stevens Point?
As a general rule of thumb, I'm not a big fan of TIFs. I think TIFs have got us into a lot of trouble in the past, and I would highly encourage implementing any sort of TIF that would be underwritten by a grant by the state or some other institution that could assist us. So at the present time, no, I don't think TIFs are a great idea. And if they are used, they need to be used very judiciously and with great concern for all the other people who have been paying taxes for years in the community, like homeowners. So that's my opinion on them.
Thank you. Sal Cuomo.
Not a big fan of TIFs, and I think the whole system needs to be revised. I think the ones that we have going should be looked at again and taken a look at to see what they bring to the business of the city. But I'm not very positive on TIFs and how they've been used in the past.
Okay, thank you. Andrea Olson.
TIFs. Okay, these are very confusing, and even after having them explained to me many times, I understand how they work now, and they are and are not good. I think for many reasons we need to start having a independent review of all of the people that are applying for the TIFs, and that will review the pro formas and also the developer agreements, because many times we're just relying on our internal staff to do these things, where some bias from alders or also from the mayor and from staff can be entered in. We had a meeting on Monday where they were going into pretty much vote on an incentive for a developer agreement, where the developer showed up for a presentation and he didn't even have a presentation ready. That project should have never gotten that far, and that was a lot of staff time that was potentially wasted there. We have some other options. We can do housing tax credits. We can talk to developers too, because many times developments are happening where they are just to a TIF, so that there can be incentives, but they might be able to happen elsewhere too. So that's where the independent review would be very effective with helping.
Okay, thank you. Matt Moldendauer.
I generally am not a fan of TIFs. I'd like to see us really look at before we approve more TIFs, because it shifts the burden of the city budget onto homeowners and small businesses locally. And so I'd like to. I'm generally opposed.
Okay, thank you. We'll start the next question with Sal Cuomo. With immigration enforcement operations happening all over Wisconsin, what can be done to ensure all the residents in Stevens Point feel secure and safe in accessing workspaces, medical spaces, and support services?
Would you repeat the question, please?
Sure. With immigration enforcement operations happening all over Wisconsin, what can be done to ensure all the residents in Stevens Point feel secure and safe in accessing workspaces, medical spaces, and support services?
I am the product of illegal immigration. I'm sorry, thank you. I am the product of illegal immigration. My grandfather was in Mussolini's Navy and went AWOL in Canada and set up a deal with a couple of relatives to drive him to Detroit. Spoke no English, but he was a credit to the immigration system, because while he was in Detroit, he became a citizen. He started a number of small businesses, and he was a pretty good bowler from what pictures I see. He died before I was born, but I've heard the stories. So immigration is a special place in my heart, because that's where my family came from. The difficulty becomes there are immigrants who are here who are not living by our laws. Those people need to be thrown out. The ones that are here, that are trying to live the American dream, we need to figure out a way to keep, those are obviously good people. We are all about keeping good people, and I would hope that we could do something about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrea Olson.
So UWSP put on some ICE training, and I was really sorry that I couldn't attend it. I was at another meeting at the university when that was going on. And that is something that is very important for people so that people know how to react in the first place when things like this are going on. So that is a big part of safety, because right now, if you're on Facebook, you're going to see people panicking when they see one type of a vehicle or hear something else that might not even be occurring. I know that the Sheriff's Department also has not gone through some specific training. It's some number, I can't remember it offhand, which means that they aren't going to directly cooperate with ICE either, which is also something that is good for our community, I feel. Another thing, if anything is happening, I have a business downtown, and anybody can come in there and can feel safe anytime. I will not open the door for anybody that I do not feel that if anybody will cause harm to somebody else. We have a very interesting climate right now, and we need to work on our training. We need to work on our communication with citizens too, so that citizens do feel safe no matter what's going on in the communities outside of here.
Okay, thank you. Matt Moldendauer.
At a local level, I think this is quite challenging. There are limits on what we can do. I would expect our local law enforcement to protect our residents and not comply with any illegal requests from the federal government. I would also expect them to protect the residents' right to protest, should that should it come to situations like we're in Minneapolis. I do also think education's important, but yeah, at a local level, I think it's challenging. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And Joe Donahue.
Thanks. Unless we're Native American, we're either immigrants or descendants of immigrants. I think it's very unfortunate about what's happening in the United States right now, where members of our community do not feel safe and are concerned about their family. Hopefully, Stevens Point, being a small town, will be somewhat sheltered by some of the harsh activity that's happened in other parts of the community or in other parts of the United States. I don't have a profound solution to that problem. If it does become a problem in Stevens Point, I'd be happy to get involved and try and make people feel safe. My whole goal in life is to try and make our community feel safe, but I don't have a solution for the problem at hand.
Okay, thank you. We'll start the next question with Andrea Olson. Do you see circumstances where more intergovernmental cooperation could be used among cities, towns, counties, and villages to produce less expensive and more efficient government services?
Of course that there are. We have a bunch of different towns around here and villages, and we are also, Stevens Point is also part of a county. We should be working a lot more with the county. Like, there has been some discourse and some bad blood between Point and our neighboring communities, and between even the Point and our county. Like, we have a lot of opportunities, like with the 365 shelter and the unhoused population. I was really happy when I heard that they were also working with the county, because this isn't just a Stevens Point problem. This is a problem that is, or a situation that is happening for our neighboring communities too, and for the county. So we shouldn't be taking something like this on by ourselves, just like the 365 shelter group. They were taking on everything. Lots of groups were taking on things themselves. They came together and suddenly saw a lot of change. That's what can happen if we start working with our neighboring communities too, and also working with our county so that we can try to advocate for additional funding to get it back from the state and federal government so that we can afford to offer the services that we have offered in the past and we'd like to offer in the future.
Okay, thank you. Matt Moldenhauer.
Yes, I think we could use better collaboration with the villages and towns and the county. I think one of the biggest areas I could see an opportunity for that is transportation. Right now, Stevens Point has the bus system, and then Plover has its own taxi service. I think there is an opportunity for a unified transportation system where between municipalities and perhaps beyond Stevens Point, Whiting, Plover, something ideally incorporating Rosholt and maybe even Wisconsin Rapids and some cities to the north as well, because people, there's many people who live in Stevens Point and work outside of it, or people who live outside of Stevens Point and work here as well. So I think that's probably one of the biggest areas we can collaborate.
Okay, thank you. Joe Donahue.
So I apologize. I'm having difficulty hearing. Could you please repeat the question?
Yes, I sure can. Do you see circumstances where more intergovernmental cooperation could be used among cities, towns, counties, and villages to produce less expensive and more efficient government services?
Yes, I do. And the key factor is just letting the leaders from all the communities interact more. Communication is the key. I think we could do a great deal with the neighboring communities like Plover and Whiting. Clearly, we can generate economies of scales by maybe making purchasing or consolidating other services. So I'm a big fan of it, and I think increased communication is the key.
Okay, thank you. It is time to move. Oh, I'm sorry, Sal. Sorry, go for it.
If you take a look to our neighbors to the north in Wausau, Weston, Schofield area, they've kind of combined services with fire and police, and it seems to be working out pretty well for them, and they're maintaining their costs. They haven't been doing it that long, but I mean that's a pretty good model for us to take a look at and say, okay, well, you combine this police force and you combine this fire department and their resources. How is it going? Is there something that we can learn from what they're doing there? And I hope there is, and I hope it eventually is successful for them. But it's a method that we can copy, granted if it's successful. But absolutely, the county, I would even say the entire geography within a certain radius around Stevens Point should focus on working together. We're all after the same the same thing. We want our kids smarter. We want our jails tight. We want less government, wasteful spending. And I think we should be able to work together with the county and surrounding communities in order to make that happen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. It's now time to move into the closing statement that our candidates will provide. The closing statement is an opportunity for the candidates to comment on topics not covered in the questions, and the order of the closing statements will once again be drawn by random drawing, and each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to present a closing statement. And we start with Andrea Olson.
I think it was rigged. No, just kidding. So I have a unique mind. I have an artistic side and I also have that engineering side. So normally when you see me stop, it's because I'm processing a lot of information at a time, trying to think of everything that's going on currently and then how our future in the long run is also going to be affected. So I've been going to city meetings now on and off for over 10 years. You can come up to me and ask me about almost any topic, and I can give you some information about it. And if I don't know, I'll then go and find out. I don't really care if you're in my district or not. I've been going to meetings because of a situation that's in District 6, and I don't even know how many hours we've put in on research and talking on that. I grew up in this community. I left this community. I came back to this community, and I'm going to be here for a very long time in the future. If you don't know my name, now you do. Most people know my golden retriever's name, Porter, because they see him always on the sidewalk walking. So I hope that you can come up to me and say hi, and we can have a conversation, because I'm better in person than I am up here because I have big time nerves.
All right, thank you. Matt Moldenhauer.
I think one of the biggest things that didn't touch on too much is transparency. I'd like to see us provide more opportunities for people to give input, such as like how the FCC does open forums for comment for a couple weeks to accommodate people who may not be able to make it to a city meeting. Maybe they work second shift or something like that. I'd like to see us explore options like that for certain issues, as well as really broadcasting more widely upcoming decisions and changes with the city, so people feel like they're in the loop and they're not caught by surprise. I'm always interested in learning new things and tackling problems and listening to people's perspectives, and I want to be available for residents should they have questions or concerns.
Okay, thank you. Joe Donahue.
Thanks. Stevens Point will have many important issues facing it in the next few years. As a longtime resident, I believe my interests will closely align with my neighbors. I want this community to be a wonderful place to live for decades more, and for our current and new residents. I believe responsible decision-making depends on listening so that our decisions are informed, thoughtful, and consider the people that they affect the most. In my decades of sales work, I listened to and I worked within budgets. I problem solved and I was accountable for results. I believe community service should look like customer service. Listen first, communicate clearly, and follow through. I'd like to thank the UWSP for hosting the event, as well as the League of Women Voters, Pointers Vote Coalition, UW Stevens Point Government Association, and the Portage County Business Council, as well as SPASH Student Senate. Thanks so much for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Sal Cuomo.
Thank you to all the groups that are involved in putting this on. I'm not going to list you all because I can't remember you all, frankly. So I'll just be honest about that. But all of us are running and spending our time because we care about the city. We care about a positive outcome for our future, not only for our kids and grandkids, but also for our neighbors, the elderly, and our neighbors. I mean, that's why we're running. Everyone here is doing a commendable job, and I look forward to serving the community of Stevens Point by doing whatever I can. There are issues that came up today that seriously need to be addressed, and regardless who wins the position, and I hope it's me, but there's some serious issues that need to be dealt with on the city council level. And my hope is that forums like this will push those issues out into the sunshine so they can be taken care of, and our voting public can get a better grasp and understanding of what's going on at the city council meetings. I too have been to council meetings, and boy, aren't they a hoot. But we can do a lot of that work for our constituents and our individual districts, and I look forward to receiving your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the candidates for their time and energy they have invested in running to serve as a Stevens Point Alder, and for participating in this forum. Feel free to talk with constituents afterwards. On the April 7th ballot, Portage County voters will also be voting for several other offices, including the Wisconsin Supreme Court, the Portage County Executive, the Portage County Board of Supervisors, and the Stevens Point Area School District Board. The League of Women Voters of Wisconsin has a candidate guide, which may be found at vote411.org, and myvote.wi.gov also provides information about the April 7th elections and the voting process. This concludes the forum for the Stevens Point Alder candidates. So thank you, candidates, and thank you, audience, for your participation and attention. We also wish to thank Seth Hendricks and John Quirk of the City of Stevens Point, who recorded the forum and will replay the forums on the Stevens Point YouTube site. Along with tonight's forum, the Stevens Point Area School District Board Candidate Forum, the Portage County Executive Forum, and the Portage County Board of Supervisors Forums will also be aired. These broadcasts are an appreciated service to area citizens. Thank you to the League members, the UWSP Pointers Vote Coalition, members of the Portage County Business Council, the UWSP Student Government Association, and members of the SPASH Student Senate who volunteered in various roles this evening to make the forum possible. We couldn't have done it without all of you. And thank you to the staff of the Dreyfus University Center for their assistance. Thank you. And for the use of the Encore Room. And Representative Moresi is here, and he has some blue books he would love to distribute. He's in the back of the room. So before you leave, get one of those blue books. They have very interesting information about the state of Wisconsin. So the League believes that when you vote, you are participating in one of the most basic and important responsibilities you have as a citizen. When you vote, you are empowering your political voice. Please remember to vote on April 7th. Your vote does count. So now let's show our appreciation to the candidates and have a good evening.